Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to continue with the next sums from VUR ADF RMI related questions chapter in RK Bali. So always before starting these questions, revise the theory, revise the concept. I have solved many questions on this particular chapter previously. If you haven't watched those videos, watch those videos first, solve those questions, and then start with this video. So all the best. Let's begin with the first question for today, question 10. Aircraft is homing on heading 045, starboard drift of 10 degree. So if your heading is 045 and you have a starboard drift. So whenever there is a starboard drift, you have heading which is less than your track. So heading is 045 and drift is 10 degree. So therefore, your track will be heading plus 10, which is 045 plus 010. So track is 055. That means aircraft is situated on 055 radial, uh, 055 magnetic bearing to the station. Why magnetic bearing? Because here it's written homing. So the track that we have found out here is the track towards the station, which is magnetic bearing to the station. And the radial will be 055 plus 180, which is 35 degree. So the aircraft is situated on radial 235, which is magnetic bearing from the station or QDR, and magnetic bearing to the station or QDM is 055. Next, OBS is selected 220. OBS is selected 220. Variation is 5 east. Now very important is heading is magnetic. That's fine. So yeah. So this is right, 235 and 055. Variation can be used to find out QUJ and QTE later, or you can do that now itself. So QDM is what? QDM is 0. QDM is 055. If QDM is 055, QUJ will be true bearing to the station. So variation is east, magnetic will be least. So true will be more than magnetic. So QUJ will be 060. QDR is how much? QDR is 235. So QTE, the true will be more than the magnetic, therefore 240. Simple. So this point is done. Now let's draw the VOR. Aircraft is situated on radial 235. Obvious selection is radial 220. Okay. 235 opposite is radial 055 and 220 opposite is 040. Radial 040. Okay. So what will CDI indicate? Now you are homing towards the station. You are homing towards the station. So your aircraft is here on radial 235 and you are homing towards the station on a heading of 045. That means your aircraft looks something like this. On radial 235 on a heading of 045. Okay. Now when you are homing towards the station, you are expected to put on your OBS selector, any bearing which will take you towards the VOR. So you can put 040, 055, anything. So for this example, let's say you are putting 055, which is direct reciprocal of 235. So flying on radial 235 towards the VOR, overfly the VOR, transition to the opposite radial 055 away from the VOR. So when you put 055, you will get a 2 indication. And since aircraft is right on this radial, you will get CDI needle in the center. Now let's go to the next part. But in the OBS setting, you have put 220. You have put 220. Now if you put 055, you will get a 2 indication. If you put 25, the radial on which aircraft is situated, 235, correction. If you put 235, the radial on which aircraft is situated, you will get what? From indication. Why from indication? All radials, okay, this all radials are bound to take you away from the VOR station, outbound from the VOR station, okay. So if you put 235, you will get from indication and the needle stays in the center. So now it's up to you whether you want to follow radial 235 and go outbound, or you want to follow radial 235 and go inbound. According to the question, you are going inbound, so the correct method is this. Okay, this is the correct method and this is called normal sensing. Since you are flying inbound, to indication, everything fine. But in spite of flying inbound, if you put this bearing in the OBS selection, you will get from indication and the CDI needle indications will be called reverse sensing, because CDI will move according to the setting, OBS setting that you have put here. So if you put 235, the CDI needle will move according to that. How? 235 is taking you outbound from VOR. Going outbound from VOR, this will be your left side, this will be your right side. But the same thing, when you go inbound VOR, this becomes your left side, this becomes your right side. So that's why if you put this 235, you will get reverse sensing. The CDI indications will be opposite. Meaning, in normal sensing, if CDI goes left, you fly left. If CDI goes right, you fly right. In reverse sensing, if CDI goes left, you fly right. If CDI moves right hand side, you fly to the left hand side. Okay, so why? Because of this perspective. Going outbound, that is right, this is left. Going inbound, that is left, this is right. So you are going inbound, your duty is to put this setting. But in spite of going inbound, if you put this setting which is meant for flying outbound, so there is a mismatch. You are going inbound, you have put a setting which is appropriate for flying outbound. So the indications will be opposite of your expectations. So that's why this is reverse sensing. So similarly, the pilot has done something like something like this. Instead of putting 235, only difference is that he has put radial 220 in the OBS selector. Now when you put 220, 235, these radials which are on this side of the VOR are in aircraft is also on this side of the VOR. So they are meant to take you outbound from VOR. So you will get a from indication. You will get a from indication with 220 setting. Okay. If pilot had put 040 instead of 220, he would have gotten 2 indication. Okay. But since he has put 220, he is getting from indication. And now pilot is on, aircraft is on radial 235. Radial 20 is to the left of radial 235. How to the left? Because all radials go outbound. So your perspective should be from the point of view of outbound. So going outbound, this is your left side, that is your right side. So 220 is to the left of radial 235. So this is no mistake of OBS. Your equipment is working right. It will work according to the setting you put inside. It's the pilot error. Okay, so if you put 220, all the indications will be with respect to that. The OBS selector, the viewer equipment on board doesn't know whether aircraft is flying inbound or outbound. It is not concerned about aircraft heading. It is only concerned about aircraft position and the OBS setting that you put. So current aircraft position is on radial 235. You have put radial 220 here. So the job of the CDI will be to go what side? It will go to the left hand side. The CDI needle will go to the left hand side, telling the pilot that fly left, meaning radial 220 is to the radial opposite of radial left of radial 235. Okay, so CDI moves left. How many dots left? The difference between 235 and 220 is how much? It is 15 degree. It is 15 degree. Now one dot is 2 degree. So 15 degree will be 7.5 dots, right? But in VOR equipment, OBS selector, we have only 5 dots. We don't have more than 5 dots indicated on the instrument. We don't have more than 5 dots indicated on the instrument. So how will you write this answer? The CDI will move extreme left or more than 5 dots the left hand side. Sensing, like I said, this will be a reverse sensing because you are homing towards the station, but the settings that you have put are meant for outbound, okay, outbound track. And from will show from, since you have put OBS 220. ADF, now what will ADF show? The formula for ADF is magnetic bearing to the station minus magnetic heading. So currently your magnetic bearing to the station is 055, a heading is 045, relative bearing will be 010. Relative bearing will be 010. Okay. So left indication, reverse sensing, from indication, and 010 to the right hand side. So that means NDB station is to the right of aircraft heading by 10 degrees. Let's go to next.